So I spent $50,000 on my office setup so you don't have to. So my name is KIRNEILL and I'm the owner of SENSEQUALITY.com, where we help gamers, creators, and remote workers enhance their performance, creation, and productivity of their office setup here. So I'm going to show you just a couple of tips and mistakes that I made personally when I was building my office setup, and things that I wasted money on and things that I should have invested more money for. Now the first thing that I wanted to get started with is I want you to do before you buy anything in this video, because it's not just about the money in general, is just spend about 1 to 3 days in your office. Write down what you're doing, write down what you're using, like a keyboard, monitor, whatever you're using here, and basically see what you're using the most. And I would say focus your needs on that. If you're not using things like lighting and stuff like that, or you're not making a lot of content and stuff, you don't have to focus on some dynamics of this video. However, if you are, then you should invest your money where you need it the most. So I just wanted to pre-surface that because my needs might be different than yours. So I just wanted to give you guys just that freedom in general. You don't have to buy anything in this. Just focus on what is important to you. All our needs are different here. So the first thing that you have to do is invest in a great chair and a great desk. A lot of people skip over this and they invest in a great computer, all this random stuff. But if you don't have a great chair and a great desk, you have to think about it, right? You're not going to sit there for a long period of time and be as productive. If you don't have a great chair and great desk, you're going to develop back problems, back pain. That'll stop you from doing what you would like to do while you're in your work setup here. So it's very important that you invest in these things. For example, I had a subpar $2 Walmart chair when I started off with a $200 PC when I was starting off my business here at home. That chair eventually broke on stream, and it made me develop some kind of back pains, and I'm fairly young here, so I shouldn't be having back pains, right? And then what I did was I invested in a Herman Miller and Body chair for fairly cheap. You can find them on Amazon. I can link them down below. Herman Miller and Body or Aeron will do, and they're fairly pricey. However, you have to ask yourself this: is it worth spending $50,000 to $150,000 on back surgery and going through and enduring that pain later on in life, and just in the stage in life you're on right now? Or is it worth spending $500 to $2,000 on a decent chair so you never have to face that pain, hopefully in the future? For me, what I chose was spending that money up front so I don't have to go through that later on. And I was already seeing symptoms from having a bad chair that's not made for me. The Embody or the Aeron will work perfectly fine for most of you guys. Some people are different. However, from what I've seen from my clients, from what I've used, the Herman Miller Aeron and Embody is definitely the best here. Now for desk, this can vary depending on what you're using your setup on. So for example, I make a lot of content with my setup. I have a lot of meetings with my setup because I run a business from here. I have a gaming setup as well, for testing games when we're doing that for our optimizations. I need the best of both worlds, or the best of 3 worlds here on my setup. I need a huge desk to ensure my dual PCs are great and not on the floor, and I need a huge desk for my Rodecaster mic and such. You might need something different. If you're using a laptop, for example, you might not need as big of a desk. If you're using your setup for an office space where you have a lot of files, such as lawyers, and you don't have all your stuff documented on your PC, you might need a bigger office desk in general. However, the desk that I like is just basically the uplift desk in general. This might be a little more expensive than just the average desk. You can honestly get an IKEA desk from IKEA.com, or you could just go there and just get 2 IKEA stands here to the side of your desk. That's what it used to have, and that will work perfectly fine. If you want to go more long-term, I would suggest the uplift desk, where it's a sit-stand desk. As you can see, I can change the height of the desk anytime, and that's very powerful. It's very powerful for a creator because you want to make sure that your camera is directly facing you in the perfect position for any kind of presentation. That is the same for if you're in tech sales, if you're doing interviews, job interviews in general, and more. The image is very, very important. Your first impression is very important. You have no idea how important it is. And ever since I switched from a low quality setup to this setup, it's almost changed my life, to be honest. Now, you don't need it to start whatever you're doing. However, I would suggest if you are making money from your setup, you need to invest back into yourself and invest it into the right ways here. So an office desk is definitely the way to go. I would suggest a sit-stand desk if you make a lot of content. If you're concerned about your health in general in the long term, sitting just for long terms aren't great for humans. So you want to just, stand up here and there, or you just, pause what you're doing, stand up, and that'll be perfectly fine too. If you want to go to cheap route, IKEA and the Alex desk should work here. Now, another thing that a lot of people really skip over is internet. So you want to make sure that your office space or your apartment or your house that you're looking to buy or your condo that you're looking to buy has good internet. I cannot tell you how important this is. A lot of people are still buying houses with cable in them, which is fine. You can switch it to fiber. However, you're going to be stuck with that for about 30 years. Do you really want to be stuck with that for the rest of the time that you're owning that house? Probably not. What is fiber? Fiber is anything that is using a fiber line, and you can suggest around 200 download and 200 upload and higher. So your upload is symmetrical with your download, and it's not 1,000 download and 40 upload. 1,000 download and 40 upload, that's cable, right? 200 download, 200 upload is fiber. That is how fiber is. Usually you'll see plans around 1,000 download, 1,000 upload, and that is perfect. You can get it from AT&T fiber, you can get it from Google fiber, Verizon Fios. It's a lot of plans that have it here. So before you buy anything, before you sign that lease, you want to make sure that you're moving into somewhere that has fiber. Trust me, I've had an office that we've got from Miami. I spent around $2,000 a month on that office, and it was super unproductive because we didn't have fiber internet. So our customers couldn't contact us as fast as possible because we didn't have that fiber to be able to do that. We couldn't stream at a higher quality as we do now and make content as fast as we do now because we didn't have fiber. It limits you when you get to a point where you're very efficient at your setup and you're doing more high quality stuff. That cable or DSL or whatever you have is going to limit you. So for the majority of you, which is super users, I would suggest fiber, and it's going to be pretty much cheaper from a lot of places that I see. Fiber's cheaper than cable from a lot of the clients that I tell to switch here. So if you want just the best in general, if you just don't want to have one day where you're getting on your stream and you're having these internet issues, or one day you have an interview or a job interview and your internet's just not working, or it's low quality and it's decreasing the quality of your camera in general, get fiber internet. Trust me, it is worth it. Even if you don't use your internet like that and you have a lot of kids, you have a lot of people in your house that uses internet, I would suggest getting fiber internet here. And you could just ask your local providers if they have fiber or not. Don't ask if they have 1,000 download. That is how they trick you. You want fiber, not gigabit, fiber. So this part of the video is for if you are doing any kind of remote work at home, where you have to contact people through Zoom or something like that. If you're doing any kind of content at home, where you're producing videos like what we're producing right now, then definitely follow this guide that I'm about to provide you here. Now, this goes along with how important your image is. Now, image is not the most important thing when you're making content or doing tech sales or anything like that. However, it creates that first impressions. And as you guys may know, first impressions are absolutely everything, and this section is going to go through that. Now, the first thing that I very much wasted my money on is spending a lot of money on a camera, a lot of money on a lens, and a lot of money on just a mic in general that is completely irrelevant. You don't need to spend a ton of money to have a decent looking setup like this. Most of the people that you're going to talk to have a basic monitor, a 1080p monitor, or watching your videos or talking to you through an iPhone or any kind of phone that can't even pick up a lot of quality here. So that's one thing I wasted. I bought a $5,000 camera with a $1,000 lens, a $1,000 mic, when I could have invested all that stuff in what's around me. What's more important than your camera is your lighting. No matter what, your lighting is more important. Now, the first thing that you want to set up is basically a key light, and I'm going to link all of these stuff down below so you can have it. So you want to set up a key light so you can absolutely look amazing during your interviews, your tech sales, or your job interviews, your content, because a key light is able to make sure that you are illuminated so people can actually see your expressions and everything like that. And it's very important for back and forth communication in general, especially through online. So a key light's going to be very important. If you don't want to go crazy, you could do all this stuff in the background that I did. That is completely irrelevant. We're not going to go into that today. It's good money to spend, but for like the sake of your setup, it's not necessity. We're only going through necessities today. Now, if you're looking for a camera that will make you look professional for a budget, I would suggest the Panasonic Lumix G7. My friend Theo recommended this. This camera is absolutely amazing quality for a low budget. I spent around $5,000 on my whole camera setup here. However, this can do it for around $1,000 here. Now, you're gonna need the camera itself. If you're on a desktop computer, you're gonna need the Elgato Cam Pro, which I'll link down below, and then you're going to need an HDMI cord, and that should be perfectly fine. You can connect it to your PC or your Mac if you have that, and then you should be fine there. However, this camera is absolutely amazing. For 1/5 of the cost of this quality, you could get the same thing. And what I would suggest, if you just don't want to deal with everything in the future, if you think you're making content for the content creators out there, I would suggest getting the bundles. However, if you're not a content creator, you're just going to have it on your desk like I do, then just get the regular camera and you should be fine here. You might need just a dummy battery just so it can last. However, if you just get the bundle, you have everything that you need. The second thing, and the most important thing, I believe, is your mic. Now, for the best bang for your buck, I would suggest the Elgato Wave 1. This mic's only 80 bucks. It does 80% of the work that you need it to, and you don't have to spend $1,000 on a mic setup here. Now, I would suggest a stand as well, just something to hold your mic up with you, and that should be fine. That way, like as you see my mic right here, it's next to 2 to 3 inches from my mouth, and that way I could get the best sound out of it possible. Most people buy $1,000 mics and just their mics all the way over here. Do you hear how that sounds? That doesn't sound amazing. You want your mic 2 to 3 inches away from you, and you want to use just this mic right here. It's perfectly fine, 80% of everything that you need, and it is cheap, and you're good. You don't have to worry about audio. Audio is even more important, I would say, than your actual camera here. You can get just a regular dummy like Logitech 920 webcam, and you could get a very, very good mic, and people would like that more than if you got a very good camera like this one and had a mic like this. So in general, you want to have a great mic, you want to have a decent camera, and most importantly, you want to have just a great key light here. Now, you can add additional stuff like a ring light in the back. You can add lights in the background just to make it look a little three-dimensional and stuff like that. However, it's not a necessity. We're talking about necessities today. I would suggest just this Elgato Wave 1, and you should be pretty happy. And I'll link the mic stand as well down below so you can have that as well. And that's pretty much it, guys. So basically what we covered today is first, invest in your chair. Invest in your desk so you could sit at your desk for long periods of times without having to worry too much or having to get distracted too much. You could access that flow state more, and you could just be comfortable. It's all about comfort here. The second thing is basically investing in internet. Make sure that you're getting fiber internet. Some of you can't, and that's perfectly fine. Just make sure you're getting the highest upload possible. Download is fine too. You want like a lot of download, but a lot of people lack upload. Anytime you're sending information out to the internet, which we do a lot, if you're sending or uploading a video, if you're streaming, if you're doing anything like that, like Zoom, you want very, very good upload here. So make sure you're getting fiber internet if you can, or just great quality cable internet here. The third thing is just focusing on your image and your first impressions here. So that is investing in a decent camera like the one I showed you, the Panasonic. And you can invest in a great mic. That $80 one is a best bang for your buck. I would suggest a mic stand with that, and you should have basically everything that you need for your setup at 1/5 of the cost, and you're not spending $50,000 on a setup for no reason like I did here. So I hope that helps. It's the only stuff that you really have to focus on when building your setup for the first time. We're going to elaborate more on that in future videos. So if you want, you can like and subscribe, and we'll go through more of that. And let me know what information or questions you have regarding this, and I'll elaborate more in future videos as well. I hope you enjoy, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your night, guys.